انضمت المملكة العربية السعودية إلى منظمة الأمم المتحدة كعضو مؤسس في مؤتمر سان فرانسيسكو عام 1945 للميلاد، ومنذ ذلك الوقت وهي تمثل عضواً فاعلاً وداعماً كبيراً وشريكاً رئيسياً موثوقاً في كل برامج التنمية والدعم الإنساني التي تنفذها المنظمة. وفي الوقت الحاضر يوجد 23 برنامجاً وصندوقاً ووكالة أممية تعمل بالشراكة مع المملكة لتحقيق أهداف تنموية مستدامة من خلال مكتب المنظمة في المملكة الذي يعمل بالتنسيق والتعاون مع الجهات المعنية وفق الرؤية الوطنية 2030. لقد أثبتت المملكة عبر تاريخها أنها من أكبر وأهم شركاء برامج الأمم المتحدة لكل ما فيه خير البشرية.
My name is Al-Tayyib Adam. I am the UN Resident Coordinator and as well as, of course, the UNICEF Area Coordinator for the Gulf. And have been here in Saudi Arabia for more than 4 years, I think, and very much enjoyed being in Saudi Arabia. My experience in Saudi Arabia, it's a very rich experience, and it's very rewarding actually. And I like very much the atmosphere here in Saudi Arabia. People are very welcoming, very generous, and I have the opportunity to actually have some friends from from Saudi Arabia here, from the government, but also from the private sector partners and members. You know, I'm from Sudan originally, so there are a lot of Sudanese here, so that's also an opportunity actually to connect with some friends whom I know actually from a long time ago in Sudan, but now also find them here. So it's really a great experience, and I'm very happy and glad I'm here in Saudi Arabia. Thank you. I think over the last 4 years, I have the opportunity actually to see a lot of parts of Saudi Arabia. I've been to the south actually, and you know, to Abha, Asir. I have been to the north. I have been also to the west. So been to Jeddah, been to Mecca, as well as of course Medina. And so I have this opportunity to visit the holy, let's say, areas and holy mosque actually. That was a fantastic experience. And Saudi Arabia, of course, is a big country. It's very diverse, and it's beautiful actually. Also, there are a lot of actually culture here to be able to see. There are also, of course, also a lot of places for tourism actually. And I'm glad to see that also the tourism is booming now in Saudi Arabia, and it's a different tourism. You know, you can go to Al-Ula, for example, to see some of the ancient actually history there in Saudi Arabia. Also, you have the chance to go to the eastern part of Saudi Arabia. You can see the sea. There is also the Al-Ahsa also area there. You know, that's one of the old actually cultural area with a lot of heritage. I think there is that area which has, I think, 3 million actually trees, you know, there of, you know, dates. So that's another thing to mention. In addition, of course, to the religious part of Saudi Arabia. So that's another element. You know, Saudi Arabia, of course, receive millions of people from all around the world to come for Hajj, to come for Umrah. It's very rich, very diverse. Saudi Arabia hosts a lot of people who come to work in this country. I think there are at least more than 10 million people from different parts of the world working in Saudi Arabia, which is also unique in the sense that you have different cultures here in this country. And I think that provide the country with that kind of unique situation and element in terms of being able to host people coming for Hajj, but also people who are working in this country. And we have that opportunity for cultures to be exchanged there in this country. So that's something really, I think it's of a great value of this country, a lot of diversity, as you said. But also if you look at the country itself, there are, of course, different cultures across the country. It's a big country.
إذا تحدثنا اليوم عن الأمم المتحدة نلاحظ بأنها تندرج تحتها منظمات دولية كثيرة. نتحدث عن منظمة الصحة العالمية، نتحدث عن منظمة التجارة العالمية، نتحدث عن صندوق النقد الدولي، نتحدث عن مجموعة البنك الدولي. كل هذه المنظمات التي تندرج تحت الأمم المتحدة المملكة هي عضو فاعل وتلعب دور رئيسي ومحوري فيه. إذا تحدثنا مؤخرا فقط عن أزمة كورونا وشاهدنا كيف كانت المملكة ترأس الجي 20 وكيف كانت نداء حقيقة للعالم لدعم الدول المتضررة، لدعم الشعوب الفقيرة، نلاحظ هنا يعني يبرز دور المملكة المحوري في مثل هذه المنظمات العالمية.
Saudi Arabia actually has launched the roadmap for the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. That was launched in 2021. But also the government had established the Sustainable Development Steering Committee last year. And all those efforts and structures are actually important for the government to ensure a steady and sustainable progress towards the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. I have seen actually also the Vision 2030, which is driven and led by the Crown Prince, has brought new culture in the country. I've seen that now there is government efficiency, there is government, there is professionalism actually also, there is a teamwork and also there is client orientation. So all those elements, I think they are very important. I think the role of the Crown Prince is very instrumental in this area, and especially in the driving of the Vision 2030. A lot of pace now happening when it comes to the reforms, social reforms, to empower women and youth in this country, and not only that, but also to empower the whole society at large in Saudi Arabia. And for us, actually, at the UN, also we look at this change and immense, let's say, transformation through the lens of the 2030 agenda, through the lens of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And I would like to say here, Saudi Arabia actually made significant progress towards the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. According to the data we have seen, in 2021, the rate of women participation in the workforce reached 35.6%, which is actually beyond the target set by Vision 2030, which was 30%. And again, also have seen that a large number of women now are moving into senior and leadership positions. When it comes to the young people, or let's say youth, we have seen that the employment rate has increased. And again, looking at the data of the General Authority for Statistics, the unemployment rate has declined to 9.7% in Q2 2022. Just to mention also, we've seen that now the elements related to diversification of the economy. We've seen now a lot of work on the tourism, advancing of tourism. We've seen that the records and the information shows recently has shown that the tourism is growing in the country, and of course some of the other elements related to the social aspects of the vision in terms of healthy and let's say vibrant society. I have seen these are happening, and I'm sure that hopefully all the targets and all the goals will be achieved by 2030. The relationship and the partnership of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia with the United Nations began actually at the time when the inception of the United Nations took place in 1945, when Saudi Arabia at the time actually joined the UN as a founding member. So it's, if you look at it, it's like more of 8 decades of partnership and relationship. And this partnership has grown over years. And we have seen now Saudi Arabia is one of the major humanitarian and development donor for the United Nations, but also very active member across the United Nations system. And the role of the UN resident coordinator working collectively with the UN country team, which is comprising of 18 UN agencies, funds and programs, is to support the government into its interaction with the wider UN system, supporting the government, ensuring that they have access to policies, to practices, as well as also to technical capacities.
أنا أعتقد بأن حكاية الجانب الإنساني والاقتصادي التي تدعم فيه المملكة من خلال المنظمات التي تتبع للأمم المتحدة، هو المملكة لا تنظر له من جانب اقتصادي بحت، ولكن ترى بأنه جانب إنساني ومسؤولية مجتمعية. اليوم يعني نتحدث تقريباً ما شملتها المساعدات التي قامت بها المملكة 167 دولة، نتحدث هذه المساعدات كانت في 6 قارات، في تأكيد بأن المملكة لا تنظر إلى اللون أو إلى الديانة أو إلى التوجه عندما تقوم بهذه المساعدات، وأن الجانب الإنساني هو ما يطغى على تحركاتها العالمية. لذلك أنا أعتقد بأن هذا الدور وكأن المملكة ترسل رسالة لدول العالم بأن يخطوا مثل هذه الخطوات. المملكة تعمل اليوم ومصنفة ضمن أكبر المانحين في العالم بشهادة الأمم المتحدة، بشهادة الصناديق الدولية. لذلك أنا أعتقد بأن مثل هذه التوجهات تراها المملكة كمثال وعبارة عن أمثلة واقعية لما تكون به يعني من هذه يعني في هذه الدول. أمر آخر اليوم إذا تحدثنا اقتصادياً على صندوق النقد الدولي، 3 مرتكزات يقوم عليها صندوق النقد الدولي. نتحدث عن توجيه أو التعاون في المجال النقدي العالمي، الحث على التعاون في التجارة، نتحدث أيضاً عن تثبيط كل ما يؤثر على التجارة العالمية. هذه المرتكزات المملكة تعمل عليها جنباً إلى جنب مع صندوق النقد الدولي. حتى الإصلاحات التي تحدث داخل المملكة، يعني صندوق النقد الدولي في كل مناسبة يشيد بهذه الإصلاحات. أيضاً نتحدث عن منظمة التجارة العالمية، والتي المملكة تعتبر دولة منضمة إليها منذ تسعينيات القرن الماضي، ترتكز على 28 اتفاقية. المملكة واحدة من الدول التي تدخل في الوساطات ما بين الصراعات التجارية بين الدول. المملكة تحرص على انسيابية التجارة بين الدول، تحرص أيضاً على حرية الأسواق. لذلك نلاحظ مثل هذه المنادات التي تنادي بها من خلال صندوق النقد الدولي، خاصة عند جائحة كورونا. كانت المملكة تشدد على انسيابية السلع بين الدول، وأن لا يكون هناك تحيز دولة على حساب دولة أخرى من منطلق إنساني واقتصادي.
Saudi Arabia is one of the top donors globally for the humanitarian development work, but also top donor for the UN. And just to mention also, last week, King Salman King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center has actually announced that Saudi Arabia is now ranked a top donor as per the records of the Development Assistant Committee, which is under the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. Saudi Arabia has provided 7.12 billion of assistance, both in humanitarian and development there, which is constitute 1.05% of Saudi Arabia gross national income, exceeding the targets of 0.7%, which was set by the UN Assembly in 1970. So that's a big support to the member states. But also, of course, Saudi Arabia is a member of G20. And as you know, Saudi Arabia actually assumed G20 presidency in 2020. And at the time when the world was going through very, kind of unprecedented public health emergency, COVID-19 at the time. And Saudi Arabia stepped up and actually provided support for the global response to the COVID-19 in terms of resources for research, resources for vaccine development, but also resources for vaccine rollout across the world. The UN, represented in different UN agencies, are receiving also generous support from Saudi Arabia through King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center for responding to the needs of vulnerable people affected by humanitarian situation around the world. So we have UNICEF, of course, we have UNHCR, WFP, WHO, IOM, and many other UN agencies actually benefiting from this very generous support to address the needs in humanitarian situation around the world and in the region, of course, also. So, Saudi Arabia is really playing that big role in supporting other member states. But I've seen also, as you know, in terms of the environment and climate change, Saudi Arabia has actually launched the Green Middle East Initiative. I think that was launched 2 years ago, and I think work is happening now in terms of implementation of that initiative. So that's another element to the region which Saudi Arabia is leading on.
شراكة المملكة مع الأمم المتحدة وما يندرج تحتها من منظمات هو من صميم مسؤوليتها العالمية. وإذا شاهدنا برامج الاستدامة التي تندرج تحت الأمم المتحدة نلاحظ بأن هذه البرامج تتبناها المملكة ضمن رؤيتها 2030. إذا تحدثنا عن الجانب الإنساني فقط نلاحظ بأن ما ضخته المملكة للدول الفقيرة يصل إلى مستويات ال7 مليار دولار، وهذا يمثل أكثر من 1% من ناتجها المحلي ويفوق ما هو متفق عليه ضمن ميثاق الأمم المتحدة وهو 0.7%. وبذلك المملكة تتصدر الدول المانحة عن طريق مركز الملك سلمان للإغاثة، عن طريق المراكز الإغاثية الموجودة في المملكة. لذلك لاحظنا المملكة خلال جائحة كورونا ومن خلال رئاستها للجي 20 تحدثت بشكل مباشر وحثت دول العالم بأن تتم هناك إعفاء للقروض للدول الفقيرة، تحدثت بأن تمنح اللقاحات بشكل مجاني. كانت المملكة ترى بأن لا تشافي ولا تعافي من هذا الفيروس ما لم يكن هذا الأمر يضم كل دول العالم الفقيرة والغنية، وحصل هناك استجابة وقامت العديد من الدول بشطب هذه الديون على الدول الفقيرة.
I think I would just like to take the opportunity to thank the custodian of the two holy mosques, His Majesty King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, and the Crown Prince, also Prime Minister Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz for all positive and fruitful relationship Saudi Arabia has with the UN. And all the support actually they are providing to the UN agencies working with governments here in Saudi Arabia. And I would like to also say that we look forward for continued cooperation and collaboration for supporting the development priorities in the country, for supporting the sustainable development in the country, but also for supporting people around the world. The United Nations is present in Saudi Arabia, and we look forward to work with different partners in Saudi Arabia, with the government, with the private sector, with academia, with civil society, to help support sustainable development efforts in the country and to contribute to the well-being of the people in the country. But also I'd like to say that the experience of being in Saudi Arabia is very rich experience, a very positive experience. So I would like to really encourage those who haven't been able to travel to see Saudi Arabia and to go around the country, to see the beauty of the country. It's high time for you to travel and see the beauty of Saudi Arabia.